thank God for sending you to me. Oh, you're royal, a part of God's kingdom. I thank God for sending you to me. Oh, beauty. Hey, what's poppin'?
What's up?
What's going on, y'all?
Not much. We're just chilling, sitting here.
Chilling and chillaxing. Well, welcome back to Be Beauty Podcast, where we are bold, educated, ambitious, unstoppable, talented, and yielded. Where we growing and glowing with His purpose, on purpose, for purpose.
All 2023.
Period. How was y'all's week?
Great.
How was your week, sis?
It's been good. I'm so glad that I'm off today.
I know that's right.
I took the last half of my shift off so that I can be prepared for today.
And you're looking good.
Thank you.
Come on, girl.
I got my little eyelashes on today, y'all. Ooh. I don't usually do those.
I love it. Jeremy, what you get into this week? How was your week?
Busy, but blessed to be busy.
Amen. Say that.
Yeah, sometimes you get in the thick of it and you're like, oh crap, man, I just need a day off. But then
I'm gonna keep going. You know what? You got that personality, that mentality where you just gonna keep pressing.
Yeah, that's how
applying pressure.
That's
literally.
Right. Name of the business.
Name of the business. So y'all, we are so excited. We have a fire interviewer, and one of the things we wanted to do with the platform is invite small businesses, entrepreneurs, people who are making noise in not only our community but in your community. But the noise that you're making is giving glory to God. Mm-hmm. And so we have one of our first interview in a while, Jeremy Turner, owner of Apply Pressure Dayton, is in the building. Woohoo!
Proud to be there.
Listen, I love it. So listen, Jeremy, we're gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna just steal your paper because I ain't about to open up my phone.
Go ahead. There you go. I brought it for a reason.
Because he sent us a whole list of things, and so you chose a quote, and your quote was from Kobe Bryant, and the quote reads this: "When you make a choice and say, 'I'm going to be something,' then you should not be surprised when you are that. It should not be something that is intoxicating or out of character. I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to break it down to its smallest form, smallest detail, and go after it day by day, one day at a time." Kobe.
You want to know the beauty behind that?
Let's talk about it.
It's dealing with imposter syndrome. So you're starting something new. You may be in environments where you're not generally accepted in whatever form. Mm-hmm. And that right there is just get rid of those fears and those doubts, because you're going to have those moments all the time that come up to play where you're getting in your own head. Because it doesn't matter what's the old saying. It's not in the mountain, it's the pebble in the shoe. And the pebble in the shoe a lot of times is your own self in your head. So that's why I love that quote, because it's from the greatest competitive athletic mind that there ever was, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I just think it sums up how to deal with that imposter syndrome in a really strong way. So that's your being bold.
I like that. So for you, starting a business from the ground up. From the ground. Let's talk about your story. How'd you get started with Apply Pressure Dayton?
Well, I guess the whole idea of wanting to clean came from the Army. So I had the loudest mouth there was.
I know, that's right. Thank you for serving. I could see that though.
Yeah. So I was cleaning all the time. I was always in trouble. So I got in love with the idea of cleaning. I was never OCD when I was young, but I became OCD to a point. And then I graduated. I got out of the Army. I went into the workforce, and I was dedicated to anything I wanted to do. I was dedicated. So it's hitting caps soon. And I figured out about to a time.
You're going in and out.
Okay. I figured out about to a time where you're going to hit those caps soon. And you know what I mean? You could be as productive as you want to be, but they're not good. There's going to be ceilings depending on how other people may see you or depending on what's available. So in my idea, while I'm young, I've got no kids, you know what I mean? COVID just hit. So everybody's in their houses, needing their houses cleaned. It's a relatively easy thing to learn. I've got resources from friends that I had known that I had done it, so I could learn how to do it. I didn't have a bunch of money, but I was savvy enough to be able to build my own machines in a way. It's like soft wash machine, built that. And I was renting other machines until I could get the machines. And then from then on out, I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So I just went hard into study and tracking everything, writing everything down. And just like water on rock, you know what I mean? You hit it so many times. You look at everything you can look at and you say, burn the boats. There's no plan B. This is what's going to be. This is it or nothing. And so it just happens. You know what I mean? You pray about it. You stay on it. You do what you should do. And it's inevitable. As long as you do it the right way and glorify God through it.
Right.
That's a very important part of it because he wants you to be, despite what my parents may have thought at one time,
Right.
money is not the root of all evil. It is a tool, and God can give you that tool if he thinks you're going to use it the right way.
Right.
And so that's kind of how I came to a point when I was just working so much. It was like, I'd rather work for myself.
So what do you think is I guess, starting your business and with what you said, the quote, your boldness, you stepped out on boldness with this, right? So what was the most pivotal point for you where you just saw like, okay, this isn't just something that this isn't my plan B. This isn't just going to be something that I'm just going to do, but I'm really going to do this and I'm going to do this the right way. I'm going to build this thing brick by brick the right way.
I think it was the first day where I made like $2,000 in a day. And to me, I was like, if that's possible, and it's not super hard because I already had like the skill set it's not the actual thing that's hard. It's everything around it, from the dealing with people and all that. And I had the skill sets from the Army. I was in the Army for 8 years. I was in leadership in the Army. I got my MBA. I got into new companies and they were making me like leading sales teams and stuff like that. So I had all the other components. So I was like, right when I know this skill, you know what I mean? I could prove it to myself. I'm going out and like all these different services I'm trying. I'm just experimenting with things, see what sticks. And then I found a few couple niches and I was like, I can replicate this. Once when I see something is replicable and I can teach it and I can qualify the quality of it on a standard basis, that's when I say it's doable. You can be wealthy doing anything you like to do, because as long as your why is bigger than anything else, because you could cut hair, you could program data and computers, anything you want to do, you could be successful with. Just what rooms are you in? Who are you doing it for? That's kind of.
So what's your why?
My why is I want to prove to everybody that it's possible. I want to prove to my nieces and nephews that don't have anything in their life going for them. So all you gotta have is you. You know what I mean? All you gotta have is your head right.
That's real.
You know what I mean? You gotta have a work ethic, and you gotta keep the anchors away from you.
Right.
Because those negative influence, just like a hole in the ship, a little water inside. Don't matter if it's a Titanic.
It's gonna come down.
It's down.
Ooh, that's real.
Deep. I mean, that's real. So I guess one of the questions is, or one of the things that we said we were going to talk about is, how do you model the scaling of your business with God's principles?
Okay. So if I can borrow the notes back from you, because there's a couple different points.
There's some good points.
So you should always give more value than is expected and agreed upon. So if I'm doing an in-person quote with you, and we say, hey, it's this, and this, and this, I'm also identifying your pain points, asking a whole bunch of broad questions. And so when I write that work order up, on the back end of things, I'm telling the text, hey, look, she can't afford a porch right now, but let's just throw the porch in there. Let's not tell her we're going to do that. Let's just do it. You know what I mean? You go a little bit extra. That's one thing. That's a big thing. Always exceeding the value. The golden rule is a big one. You guys know the golden rule. Don't got to spend a bunch of time on the golden rule. Other than that, a couple quotes here, like Matthew 25:23. Well done, faithful servant. I'll put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. That's kind of what we were getting about earlier, doing things in the glory of God and just working hard. To me, that's a work hard quote. That means it doesn't matter if you're tired, sick, good mood, bad mood. If you like the person on the other end of the table, you're going to find a win-win, a solution, and we're going to get business done.
So that's what's setting you apart, would you say, in your business?
I think it's everything together.
Okay.
It's not just, when people ask me like, how do you get customers? I was like, well, we do all these things and they all play together to create like a revolving filter almost, to where somebody, once they know of us, they're going to see us here, there. So it's a little bit of everything.
And you get a lot of referrals.
Yes, we do get a lot of referrals. That's just generally how you treat people.
Right.
It's an emotional need. I don't go get my hair cut because I don't want it to touch my ears. Well, I personally do, but I'm just saying, like girls, they spend so much money on makeup.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not making makeup because, oh, this is made out of clay and it's great. I'm making makeup because she wants to look better than that girl right over there.
Yep.
That's an emotional need.
Yep. So you're meeting a need.
Right. So let me ask you this, because I know when we talked at the restaurant and everything, how do you run your company? It was a specific way that you run your company.
In what manner? With the employees?
Yep, with the employees.
So it's a hybrid pay model. So the way I filter them in is I never sell anybody on you're gonna be doing this task, this task, this task. I give them, and we don't talk about money till near the end of it. I put out like a broad statement, like here's the mission, here's the core values, here's what we're going for, here's what we represent. Because it's not, I mean, cleaning windows, it's not hard.
Right.
You know what I mean? All the different things, they aren't hard. All you got to do is have the right attitude. And all that stuff's teachable.
Right.
So I never hired for skill. So from the very beginning, you know what I mean? You set yourself up to win. You're not getting somebody that has a whole bunch of bad habits from somewhere else. It's a new day and age. All the skills in the world don't matter if they have bad work ethic, which most 80% of people do. And then it's just the process you pull them in at. So then I'm trying to screen hundreds of people, and I only got 10 hours to do it. You know what I mean? So you get your lists, you're screening them by a form that you send out that's automated. Doesn't take none of my time. I'm not doing that. And then you get on the phone with them, you qualify it down. Maybe 10 of them you get on the phone with, qualify it down. Maybe 2 of them you interview, like a Skittles test. My friend Mark Perone loved to say that. So Skittles, so you squish 2 Skittles together, one of those Skittles is going to break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
then you take that strong Skittle, that's your little gladiator Skittle, and you move it up to the next level, and you squish it against another gladiator Skittle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you kind of set the tone that you're competing coming in. And then with our hybrid pay model, it's you get your base, and then you get 5% of anything that you bring to the business. Because thank you, I didn't have to do that.
Right.
And then you get keep all your tips. I tip them for all 5-star reviews. So that's kind of how it's structured out with the employees. And then it's a very, very much so, hey, look, you are in charge of this. I'm not going to micromanage you. I refuse to do that. I'll coach you as much as possible, but this right here and everything on it is your responsibility. That's your truck. This is your assistant. You've got to train this guy. So if you want to be a lead tech and you want to show, 2 or 3 years down the line, you want to have a leadership state, you've got to be able to prove competency in an ownership role completely. I don't need to be telling you what to do every day, because I want to go on vacation for a couple of weeks and not get called.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's.
But it sounds like what you're doing is you're strategically putting a system in place to where you're building quality employees, but you're also saying, okay, not only am I building quality employees, but you're a quality portion of this company.
Yes.
Because this company can't run unless you're doing what you're doing.
It's all about, like, you only have so much time in a day. So if I'm thinking about it, my 10-hour, $1 an hour tasks aren't worth hiring somebody to do. Those are going to be automated, systematized. Things like general follow-up. I've got a system in my CRM that'll follow up with quotes by email for me automatically. Once I sent out, it looks like it's coming from me, but you're talking to a robot.
Right.
And then other things like happy calls. So at the end of every week, call all the customers from that week. How did we do? Do we exceed your expectations? What could we do better? And then for Monday morning meeting, we go through all those calls with the technicians. We look through everything that's going for the week. And then once a month, we also say, what are your personal goals within the company? How much do you want to make? Like, you have a small family right now. In 5 years, do you want to have 100 grand? Okay, then you should probably look at the production manager position. So here's an organizational chart. The production manager does these roles and responsibilities. It's written out for you. You can see it. You can pull up the Google file, say, these are the things the production manager does. So if you decide to just start doing those things, and we're looking at your bonus tracker and you're hitting your bonus goals with your 5% and you're hitting your goals, to me, that's somebody that can win. That's the highest candidate for when that position opens up. That's who it's going to be.
So you're creating leaders.
Trying to. That's if you want to, like, because eventually it's going to the point where I'm going to have to create somebody to replicate me. You know what I mean? Because I want to be 5 years, then I just want to pull out and just 20 hours a week max. Right now I'm doing like 60, 80. When I started, I don't even know how many I was doing.
And how long ago? When did you start this?
March 2021.
Wow. So you haven't been at it too long, too.
It feels like it because
Yeah.
you don't do anything else.
Right.
To me, it feels like a decade. You know what I mean? Because how many hours did you put in?
Right.
Somebody could be at something for 10 years and only put in 20 hours. You know what I mean? So it's not about this person's super smart. No, this person's just at it 24/7.
Right.
And that's what you're doing. I think following you on Facebook.
It's
your
almost
journey.
annoying, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Jeremy's out there
No,
just.
it's not annoying. I wouldn't say it's annoying. It's really cool to see somebody young, right?
Yeah.
Business. We're in the same business network. So to see you literally doing everything that you have said that you were going to do,
Mhm.
and to begin seeing things come to light and manifestation, it's like, wow.
It's great
Like,
when your employees see it too, because then they're
yeah,
like, okay, he's not just blowing smoke. You know what I mean?
right.
Like we could be.
And I think a lot of companies do that. And I think that's the problem now. One of the takeaways with Rashonda and I after we met with you was like, man, like you're really trying to motivate. You
Mhm.
care about your employees. And I think that's the problem with a lot of larger companies and larger corporations is they don't have the passion that you have about your employees, your bottom line workers.
Mhm.
You know, you think about the medical field, I think about the STNAs because I was once a STNA.
Me
You know
too.
what I'm saying?
Used up.
So I loved what I did. I didn't want to go to school to learn anything more about it. But it was like the people who were actually touching the patients day in, day out were the ones where we
Got treated the
got
worst.
treated the worst.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But the doctors and people had the
You
most
guys,
respect for it.
it's like it's the same situation as my technicians. Like your mistakes are visible, my mistakes aren't visible. A CEO
Right.
messes up. Well, it's a little different. Like CEO messes up, he gets a bailout. Me, I'm not getting a bailout, but you don't see my mistakes. You know what I mean? As a technician,
Mhm.
when a technician misses a spot on the house, like we're gonna catch that in the happy calls, or the customer's gonna call back. Like so, all the mistakes are what's focused on usually.
Mhm.
So you got to kind of flip that. That's why I try to come at it like a coach. You know what I mean? Like all that stinks. You got to get back on the court. You know what I mean? Like you got to hit extra drills and we have to stay a little bit over. Like it's more of that coaching position. You got to just do it in a positive light because especially with the way I'm doing things, you can't expect them to be perfect,
Right.
but you can set things in place that cover your butt and your customers can then trust you because hey, they may have messed up this little bit thing, but we'll be right back.
So what do you think is the biggest thing with small business owners starting out? What would you say the biggest struggle is? And at what point did you say, okay, it's time for me to start hiring somebody?
I think letting go of control is the biggest struggle. That's also my
Jeez.
biggest struggle. Because you look at the reason why people get into small business, because the reason I did is because I wanted to have more control over my outcome. And the moment you start scaling, you've got to completely reverse that mindset. You've got to go hard into the control mindset 100% for years, and then complete 180, and then everything changes again. So it's burnout. It's an entrepreneurial roller coaster.
Yep.
It's this is great. This morning my machines break down. 2 p.m. I land at $5,000 job. 3 p.m. one of my clients, like or not a technician, all of a sudden has a heart attack on a roof. Like that's happened. And then like 5 p.m. All your stuff on Facebook got likes. You're like, yes, that video did good. You know, it's like this, and then you're exhausted, and there's no weekends off.
How do you deal with that though? Because I feel that
Just go cold. Every man knows about this. You just stuff those feelings deep down. You just
you agree with that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice little tune. Nice
I
little
know that was
interim.
a little.
That's our halfway mark right there. Little interim.
So I guess, wow. So you said you just go cold. So I guess I don't know, for me in business, it is an emotional roller coaster. It's a lot.
You're in a leadership position once you start having people. So Greg Popovich was good for this. Coach Popovich was always cool. He was always cool in the court. I have an error to sometimes I'll lose my empathy when I'm gonna get so mission focused. Like, dude, I don't care if you're sick. Like, and that's bad. That's
Right.
bad. That's one of my biggest faults. So one of the cool things now is so many things have happened where I'm just like, oh, this blew up. Cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you guys want to do? You guys want to go to lunch? Like, like you just because you can't overreact in a way to where they're skittish now when they go back out. Like it's like basketball. I'm not going to yell at you when you miss a shot because then you're not going to be able to go out there and just be loose.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my biggest fault is because I'm like, these things be perfect. We're gonna grow quick. We got goals.
Right.
Like, and if you guys want these bonuses, because you told me what you wanted on your performance review, if you want to hit that, why are you leaving a little bit of brick unclean or this or that? So it's a constant struggle. Staying in the book, staying reading, just like the Bible. You got to stay in the Bible to keep your spirit right because you got to pull back to your center. And so be like Coach Popovich. Just be cool. I mean, you could be ooh, you could be throttling somebody in your neck up here, but you just got to be like, oh, it's okay. You,
Shoot,
it's-
it seems like that's how Jesus was in the Bible, though.
Yeah.
If you think about it, he
Mhm.
was just cool. Like
It was just, oh, I'm gonna be on the cross. It is what it is, Matthew.
Yeah.
Like
he had a little bit of emotion, though.
I mean, so-
that's when you get set out on the road and you're looking if you know you're gonna be in it for the long term. If you set out, on the road from here and you're going all the way up to Detroit, well, got to pass through Toledo.
Right.
So there's gonna be things that happen. You pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud. That's a
Right.
big one. That's it.
Wow.
So what is your end goal?
My end goal right now is a 5-year goal.
Mhm.
So right now it looks like a team of 3 trucks with 2 techs in each truck. One's a lead, one's not an assistant, just a typical tech. Because once you call somebody an assistant, they all of a sudden think they can take their hands off when things get serious. So you got a tech, a lead tech. That's 3 teams. You got an office manager and a CSR to help the office manager. Then you got a production manager running that. Once that whole unit stand alone in a warehouse right here in Dayton is by itself, then I can replicate it in Cincinnati and Columbus. Just don't tell the guys in Cincinnati or Columbus that I'm coming yet. So.
Well, they gonna know from the night. Apply Pressure is about to apply pressure in Cincinnati and Columbus. Okay?
Get ready.
You're going to apply some pressure. So where are you at in that right now? In that 5-year game plan?
We got 2 teams.
Okay.
So we need to add one more team, and then we need to have a reap year where we're getting what we sowed. So we need to have a year where we catch up efficiency-wise. We get really efficient and dial in on the numbers because we grew our scale and our capacity. We correct our pricing out because right now we're super high quality, average price,
Okay.
which helps us fill capacity. I don't hardly pay myself anything. But once we get to that point, then I could, yes, I could say, okay, at 20% is coming straight. You know what I mean? So I think we're about halfway to that 5-year mark going into year 3. So slightly ahead of schedule. And that looks like 1 million revenue a year. But revenue doesn't mean much unless unless you know where everything's going.
Right.
Let me ask you this. How is it on the winter months? How's business on the winter months for what you do?
A constant question. And so what we did is looking back at my numbers, obviously being a seasonal business like this, you can identify that November, December, January, February were the weakest. So we did Christmas lights, November and December. Those turned into our 2 strongest months. So now we're looking at January and February coming into next year. So what we're getting is heated equipment so we can work through it.
Okay.
And I'm focusing in the commercial realm. We all know what's going on the residential side. House prices are getting higher. So services to homes are going to get higher. So that is going to fall off a little bit. So we looked deep into marketing. We got things in place, office manager in place. So the residential is kind of running itself. And so I'm kind of full bore on the commercial, looking at fleet washing, gas stations, restaurants, things that we can get residual contracts where we're back in a week or 2 weeks. That way, by January and February, at least we have contracts that are equal to our fixed expensive because I don't want to lay anybody off. It's hard enough to find good people. And I felt bad all winter when they were having, trouble getting through the winter because I had to lay them off. So that's my biggest mission of this year is to let them know, hey, we're 24/7. You don't got to worry about nothing.
Wow. That's awesome because a lot of businesses they fall off in the winter months, and so I was just wondering, like, dang, but you got a whole game plan going on.
Got game plans. Always got a game plan. Always be ready to call the audible, but you always need your playbook.
Amen.
Be ready so you don't have to get ready.
Stay ready.
That's right. Ready. I know that's right. So, Jeremy, in this season of your life, where would you say you are with the Be Beauty acronyms?
The Be Beauty acronyms. I would say right now, just bold, educated, ambitious. I would say, those 3.
Top 3, you coming in
Top
bold,
3.
educated, ambitious. I could see that.
I could see unstoppable. I could see talented.
Well, I didn't want to just keep adding them all.
I was going to say,
you there.
We're just going to do a domino effect. We have our first interviewer that is being beauty, literally. And we say that with the most respect. I feel like you're yielded too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like that's why I try to be the most.
Are hitting every acronym in this phase of your life. And I think for real, that's what drew us to having a conversation with you and bringing you onto the platform. Because this platform isn't for everybody. You know what I mean? And for
I'm
you
happy
to
to be
tell
here.
Yeah. And for you to tell your story. So
I just liked because how do you, with recruiting, what are you looking for?
Attitude. Attitude. We can do anything with attitude because there's so many different types of roles in business. You don't have to be a good pressure washer. You could be in sales. You could be an assistant, like admin. Like right now, we need technicians and people on the phone. But other than that, attitude is everything. Because a small business, you're going to face so many challenges where it's not just going to come in, it's going to be normal every day.
Right.
Like you're going to come in, it's going to be tornadoes and bears and alligators from the glades. Like it's going to have all that. It's going to be crazy.
But I think with the way you've built your business, I think like even for those who, like you said, it's for you, it's attitude. So there's really no qualifications for anyone, right? So you're willing to work with somebody coming through the door.
Yep.
So if you're a young man or a young lady out there listening and tuning in with us, Apply Pressure Dayton might be where you might want to lean towards and talk to Jeremy Turner or apply for a position, because I believe that this business is not only going to show you how to be to work for the company, but it's going to give you some life skills. Because like you said, day in, day out, your business can change.
Right. And he's very down to earth.
And we like to have the people that, because everybody now on my team, they want to stay for as long as they, you know what I mean? There's like, I want to see how far we can go with this. It's cool. But if we can get somebody for 2 years, that's cool too. You know what I mean? As long as the expectation is there, what do you want to do? Because you'll see so much stuff. Like if you want to go into business, you'll see in a small business environment, that's any small business, firsthand marketing, accounting, finance, troubles, how to talk to customers, sales. You get all of that in small business because every role has to be like amplified. It's got to do so much. I got to squeeze every role as I can. That's why it's structured that way.
That makes sense. So one of the things that I like about your business is some of your proceeds go to the Victory Project.
Yes.
And we thank you for the introduction to Moni Bush. Rashonda and I both had the opportunity to go see that place, and they'll be on with us April the 7th. Let's talk a little bit about that before we get up out of here. What made you in your mind as a business owner say, this is the company or this is the nonprofit I want my money to go to?
So you look at it, you hear of all these big nonprofits not actually giving the money back to where it's supposed to go to. They may champion this cause and then it's gone. Now it's got a new house. You know what I mean? Right. So when I was looking at it, I was like, what do I associate myself most with? So I'm thinking it's got to be something military. Maybe we can dial it down into Dayton. I go in and I get a request for a quote to soft wash the Victory Project. I go and see what they're about. What the heck is this? You know what I mean? Then I go to one of the dinners and then I start talking to more people about it. I'm like, I love what they're doing. You know what I mean? I go in there.
How can you not?
I see the quotes everywhere. I see all the work they're doing. And so I knew I eventually wanted to do some type of charitable donation. So that's right here in Dayton. It is also a small business. You know what I mean? To them. So they're doing great things.
They're doing amazing things. So you went in, power washed, and you love what they did.
Yeah. So
and it just resonated with you.
Yeah. So it's like, I got to give you a little bit of that back.
Do you volunteer up there at all? You volunteer up there?
I don't have a lot of time yet, but I know I do want to eventually.
I think once he branches out, once you start your Cincinnati Columbus,
then I'll have, but I also want to start like another business. It's already in my head, but it's a secret.
Okay. Look, tell us what it is. No, I'm joking.
I can't. I wanted to for a second, but
dang. Not even a little.
Maybe next time.
Right.
Maybe next time. No.
Okay.
You gotta keep it close, or else it loses power.
I know that's
true.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's right.
We'll wait.
Thank you.
Okay, so one last question.
Yes.
18-year-old Jeremy. How old are you now? How old are you now?
30.
Okay. So you're talking to your 18-year-old self. What are you telling yourself?
Leave as fast as you can out of Dayton and get into a different environment.
Why?
Because I'm such a nice person. I didn't want to like upset my friends, but they were not doing the right things. And then you find yourself in a lot of bad situations. Like if I would have got it, trajectory would have been way different if I would have got out and done something. I don't know how it would have went, but it would have went way different because there were so many things that happened when I was like 19, 20, 21 to where that's still in my head. Like, is that good or bad? Because that was wild. You know what I mean? And like I've improved a lot since getting rid of all those associations. And it's hard because you don't want to forget where you came from,
right?
Or anything like that, or make anybody feel bad. But at some point, you just got to cut off, and because like it's anchors.
Yep, holding you down, holding you down at your ankles. You don't want to do that, and that's I think that's something that people are scared to do, especially the young generation.
They are. They need
They're
to be
scared to leave their friends.
They need to be
Mhm.
included.
Yeah.
So bad in like a
Yeah.
mental way.
Just
I don't
wanna
need
be
to
a
be
part
included
of
in
something.
nothing. I'll make something else over here.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, ask yourself, like, can I see myself still doing this when I'm like 25, 26
Mm.
years old and I'm 18 years old now? But I mean, they just don't think like that.
No, they don't.
No, I was gonna say, I don't think, not even just them. None of us thought like that. I didn't think like that. You know what I'm saying?
I did.
I never was like, dang,
I didn't.
I wonder what you know what I'm saying? What I never thought like that.
It doesn't mean leave it, come back. Just get out
Yeah.
and see other things.
And see,
Yeah,
yeah.
even if you got to like volunteer. Like that's
Yeah.
what I did when I got into the army. I was like, I need to get out of here right now. And so I jumped into the army, and that was like a really quick decision that ended up pretty good. Or you could always go into the Red Cross if you don't want to commit something that hard. Red Cross does little excursions. You could do a missionary
That's
work.
They
good.
sure do.
Mhm.
I didn't think about that.
They
though.
pay you or give you scholarships. You don't have to pay nothing. You can travel the world.
I might go
Wow.
volunteer myself
Come on
at the
now.
American Red Cross.
Man, that's real.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I think we even talked about that when we sat down for breakfast, like traveling.
Mhm.
And
Traveling.
because when you do get out, you do have an appreciation for.
And
I
if you
think
don't
that
have
would be
money, you'll
something
have to
good for
serve,
us.
but
Yeah.
you'll get just as much from the service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You get more. I think with that you gain wisdom
Yes.
because you get to see something that you never have seen before. And I think that would be something good for B Beauty to do is go volunteer at the Red Cross. You know,
That would be dope.
And that experience is worth more than any job experience.
Mm-hmm.
Cultural immersion,
people skills.
Yeah.
people skills, traveling, figuring things out, planning, logistics.
All of that.
And just meeting new people. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I would like us to do it if we could do it out the country. Get a different appreciation. You know, that was one of the things he said. Like when you travel outside of the country, you have an
Yes.
appreciation for things.
You do.
Because
you
I
have
feel like
no-
we take so much for granted.
You've got no base. You can't be like, I feel comfortable in this neighborhood over here. You can't. There's none of that.
You don't know.
There's none of that.
Anything
Everywhere you go,
are.
and you stick out. You stick out.
Oh yeah, like a sore thumb.
Like all the
They know you
Americans.
not from there.
Once they hear you laugh, they know that's an American. That's loud. Like,
Are we loud?
no, Americans. Yeah, like even me when I went over there, I was laughing. I get a bunch of people staring at me. Like, what are you staring at? They don't.
Yeah, American.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, everybody's loud in the army, though, aren't they?
Yeah. So I was not set up right to go, but I figured it out.
I bet you had to.
Mm-hmm.
They broke you down in boot camp.
Not really. No,
Oh, okay.
It's not what everybody thinks. It's not that. Well, I've heard stories, but to me, it was fun. I was like, because never really had like a super bad attitude, but like you knew, like
You just like the challenge.
yeah,
That's
look,
because it's challenging for people, because you're doing something that really sometimes you don't want to do. And then if you don't exercise or anything like that, it's a challenge. So you
Mhm.
like a challenge. So that's why I was just like,
and you may get disciplined, but the drill sergeants love you. They love a troublemaker. Like as long as you're not making too much trouble where they lose sleep, because they barely get any sleep. But if you're doing just enough to entertain them and you're just a little wild, like that's somebody that's useful, in my opinion.
That was you.
I was about to say, you're the second person. Randall Henry said that. The 15 Invisible Laws, guy that gave me that John Maxwell book, he said the same thing. He was a troublemaker too.
Yeah.
So if you're watching Randy, yeah,
You keep making trouble, Randy. Don't ever stop.
Listen,
Keep on ruffling.
Yes.
keep on ruffling
Yes,
feathers.
that's what. Yes.
So listen, a resource, and then seriously, we're gonna let you get up out of here.
Okay.
Resource.
Resource.
Give us a resource.
Oh, I got notes for this too.
I know. Come on.
Books. If you're like me, you didn't have a bunch of financial education from a young age, Profit First is a great one. It's all about where your money comes in and how to set up certain bank accounts. That way certain percentages go in certain areas, and it's just on a recurring thing. That way your taxes are covered. You've got a little bit of profit because you need to make some money. Your expenses are covered and your payroll's covered. Everything's just an automated system that you can make. The Profit First is how to do that. E-Myth is great. It's about getting more time. You know what I mean? So it's looking at everything and try to be as essential as possible.
That was the first
Essentialism.
business book I ever got.
Essentialism is kind of along the same way. The obstacle is the way. If you're having a hard time and you're like, the obstacle is the way, because that'll change your mindset. Because you got to look at things happen. They're not good or bad. Things aren't good or bad. Things just happen, and you make them good. Other than that, 21 Laws of Leadership, great one. Jocko Willink's Extreme Ownership. So just not passing the buck at all, because then that goes from the top down. Like you take responsibility for everything, everybody else is going to start doing the
Mhm.
same. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
That's
And
good.
then my personal favorite, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
Yes.
So just how to live your life as a man.
Oh, whoa, man.
Or a woman. Yeah.
And Jeremy he was one of the first ones. Randall gave me my first book out at networking, and then you gave me Mark Perron's book.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, dang.
Yep.
I had the title.
It's escaping me too. Mark Perron, Rethink Revenue is his business.
Right.
If you look him up on LinkedIn or Facebook, you'll be able to see his book.
Okay. Because his book was very good. Like it showed you how
to network.
How to network.
Yes. In a very fun way.
Yeah, in a very fun way.
You sit down and you're done by the time you stand up. It's concise.
Yes. But I think it's important for business owners, entrepreneurs. Best way to get out is to get into a network. So
yeah. If you want to get out, get in, right?
Get out for real. Yeah. H7 Network. Holla at us. Boom. All right, Jeremy, how can people get in contact with you, my friend?
937-474-2611, residential or commercial if you're Washington. If you want to do employee work, then you can get on applypressuredayton.com on the employees page and submit some information. When we're hiring again, we'll reach out.
Boom. You TikTok and Instagram?
We are TikTok and Instagram.
Apply Pressure Dayton.
Facebook and LinkedIn primarily. Yeah.
Okay. And I am Miss Divine34 on Instagram and Rashonda Young on Facebook.
And I am your host, Lady A. McGuire on Instagram, Ashley McGuire on Facebook. Now go be bold, educated, ambitious, unstoppable, talented, and yielded. Continue to grow and glow with his purpose, on purpose, for a purpose.
2023, baby.
Yes. And we out.
You're beautiful, so beautiful. God, thank God for sending your way. Oh,